Salud, mi gente, your boys coming through once again. And on today's video, we're gonna talk about 20 Southsiders, 20 Sureños getting off on cops, getting off on COs, and in Calipatria State Prison, Calipatria. That's crazy. One thing I have to tell you, man, Calipatria is a very violent place. Simple as that, man. Look, a lot of people want to say, okay, Pelican Bay this, Pelican Bay that. Nah, Pelican Bay was never that. Pelican Bay is basically just a name. It's notorious. Why? Because they were housing individuals in the SHU program. It doesn't mean that prison was this super dangerous spot. No, it was not. If you want to talk about dangerous spot, high desert, Salinas, Kern Valley, Calipatria, those are the places in where there's a lot of things going on, man. As a matter of fact, tell me about it. When I came into the system, my options were basically Calipatria or High Desert. It was a lose-lose for me. But anyways, before we continue with this video, do not forget to hit the like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So this happened on Saturday, this past Saturday at 1 p.m., right? When a high-ranking individual who is part of the Big Four, Big Three, whatever the case might be, requested a shower. Why? Because he's a MAC rep. Who is a MAC rep? MAC reps are basically those guys who are like the middlemen. They are in charge of informing the aiming population of what's going on with the institution, or when there's a request from the inmates, is the one who's in charge of bringing it up when they do the meetings. I believe they do meetings once a month, right? With the warden, the main person from the canteen, the captain on the yard, and the librarian, I believe. And if there's any type of issues, they'll bring it up right there. Like, hey, man, you know what? They're not running enough store. We need more items. What can we do with this? What can we do with that? We need more food sales. Who can be in charge of doing that? That's what they do, right? But most of the time, they just playing the part. They just want to go building to building and just to do what they have to do. Just put it that way, right? So this individual, highly ranked individual, right, requested for the shower, which I have seen these individuals going into the building and requested for a shower, right? Why? Because they went out there, they're being walking around, they want the shower. I seen the cops doing it. Me coming from work, I used to request for a shower. They'll give me my shower, but sometimes they'll burn me, right? It depends what happens, right? And you have to understand that as an inmate, right? Again, don't let the cop run your program. You run your own program. If they don't run shower, then take a bird bath in the cell. Simple as that. So this individual asked for a shower. They say no. Chales, not today, brody. Not today. Why? I don't know what might be the reason. Something possibly happened out on the yard. And once something happens, because he was handcuffed, once something happens, there's the movement is restricted movement, so apparently something just had happened. They brought him in. They're gonna put him in the cell. I imagine everybody's down. I'm assuming, he asked for a shower. Come on, you don't got that coming. It's restricted movement. You're in handcuffs, man. It's about getting everybody out, putting them in their cell, and that's it, right? Well, no, this guy didn't like the fact that the cop said no, right? Which the cop could be just easy, like, hey, you know what, give him a shower. It is what it is. Make it quick, simple as that. Let's do it. No, they said no, which he's entitled to do that, right? Showers are run during day room. That's when they do showers, right? Yes, there's officers who give you the shower when you come back because, hey, you're at work, got that coming and stuff like that. But it's not always guaranteed. It's not always guaranteed, So because of this individual got at some people with the hand signal, like Wes Watson used to do it like this. Hey, you already know. Hey, todos. And 20 Sureños got up and rushed the cops. Imagine how scary that situation might be, where you got 20 Southsiders rushing the cops. That's some crazy ass thing if you were to ask me. We're talking about the floor officers. We're talking about maybe some yard officers came through as well. Being rushed by the inmates by 20, At that point, they got him. Ain't nobody resisted. The gunner, of course, didn't do nothing. By the time he went to get the block gun because they're not gonna use the Mini 14. I mean, the thing was almost over, right? So they rushed the cops. They took their gear. They gave them my ass whooping, for sure. It doesn't seem that they got hit. Doesn't seem they got hit, if you know what I mean. But they did give them the business. They took their equipment, and they took control of basically the building for a brief moment because this individual didn't get his shower. Can you imagine? I do understand sometimes you get upset because you've been working, and then something happens and you're like, you don't even get a shower. It's annoying. Trust me, it's annoying, right? But it is part of life. If you don't like it, don't go to prison, But to utilize these individuals, not knowing what's going to happen, right? Because you never know what kind of tower is up there. Maybe he got his balls enough to actually use the Mini 14 and shit, But to utilize those 20 individuals to do this because somebody didn't get a shower, just because somebody said no to you, something else, right? I mean, after this was going on, of course, they're going to press the alarm. They're going to press the alarm. Other individuals, other cops from different buildings are going to come through. Pretty sure the tower is on the radio. It's informing of the situation, right? So here comes everybody all geared up with the face shield, with the shields and stuff like that, with all the tactical gear to come through, right? And they're going through and they see nothing but inmates overpowering SEALs, man. Just picture that moment right there, because as a SEAL, I'm just saying that as somebody that you work for, or you work in, right? As a worker, your coworkers is over there behind that, how are we gonna call it, enemy lines? Behind those enemy lines, right? You don't know what's going on, if he got hit, if he's okay. That is some real serious stuff. Just think about that. For inmates to do that. That's some crazy ass stuff, man. You're to ask me. Because if there are a lot, they can't do that. They can't overpower different buildings. They can't overpower the institution to the point of basically taking over. You know what I mean? Not that it's going to happen, but it is possible. It is possible. I do remember situations like this, man. Not of overpowering all that stuff, but with the MAC rep having issues, that, okay, I'm allowed to have a shower because I talked to a certain individual, whoever's in charge of the yard. I'm cool with him. He told me whenever I want a shower, just let him know that it's okay, and I'm supposed to have that coming, right? That's one thing about the MAC reps, right? MAC reps, sometimes, not all the times, sometimes they do act. They got a lot of stuff coming. Of course, imagine a MAC rep plus a high-ranking individual, all in the same spot. This individual possibly gonna think that he's the warden, which I'm not saying in a bad way, but in a sense that his mind is gonna be like, I'm right here. You know what I mean? I got all the movement that I want. I got all the influence that I can get. What else do I want? That's how I'm putting it. Like, he felt like he was somebody, right? In that sense, because in the criminal sense, he is that somebody. Just to make it clear. And it is insane as a worker to go into an institution to work, supposedly go in and give in your 8 hours, not knowing what's going to happen. I searched for this through the news. They're not talking about it, but we have to understand who CDCR is. I can tell you the CDCR don't give you all the information. I said it multiple times. I even searched incidents that happened in where I was housing, right? and they only speak about one riot when in fact 3 riots happened. So I know for a fact that they lied. I know for a fact that they only give certain information, you know, 100%. So of course they're gonna try to hide this, but did it happen? Yes, it happened, and it's something to be something very serious, right here, you know. Uh, of course, everybody after the cops got control, right? Everybody went to ATSIG. I don't know how much time they're gonna be back there, but trust me, it's gonna be at least a year, right? With charges. All of those guys gonna get charges. The DA is gonna pick up that case. So for whoever was not a lifer, whoever was a 2-striker, well, guess what? Your life just got jeopardized. You are gonna become a lifer, and all because of what? You wanna go kick with the guys, which you're entitled to. But it's just a reminder that these consequences, you know, you might not see, okay, nobody got stabbed, nobody got they just got ass whooping and stuff like that. No, this thing is gonna cause individuals a case, and for those individuals who had 2 strikes, trust me, there's individual 2 strikes. They're gonna come with the 3rd strike, and they're gonna end up doing life in prison, or not at least 20 years, 10 years more, guarantee. So with this being said, we are out. Next video. Muchas gracias. Saludos.